Firefighters need boots they can pull on lightning fast to get to the blaze as quickly as possible. These boots have to be fire resistant, of course, and waterproof, and have to provide good grip for climbing ladders and be sturdy enough not to puncture when stepping through sharp debris. Firefighters' boots start out as a chunky block of rubber. The first step is to put the block through a mill. It passes through the rollers over and over again until it gradually thins out. Workers then add chemicals, anywhere from 15 to 35 different types, depending on the model of the boot they're making. The chemical formulation is what makes the boot fire resistant. Once the rubber is smooth and malleable, about the consistency of modelling dough, it's formed into sheets which form various pieces which will be cut to make up the boot. A sheet is fed through rollers that imprint vertical lines on the rubber. Workers cut the sheet along the lines to make the strips that run down the back of the boot. From another sheet of rubber, using a handheld die, one layer of the multi-layered sole is cut. An extra thick sheet of rubber is run through the rollers that imprint a tread pattern. Then workers cut out the bottom soles. They mark the boot size on the bottom. Using yellow rubber, the boot's toe cap covers are cut out. The boot's leg has a stiff lining to prevent it from wobbling. Workers cut it from a rubber-backed cotton fabric, following a pattern. Once all the pieces are cut, they can assemble the boot on a form. They start with the lining, wrapping it around the front and gluing it closed at the back. Then the insole is glued. For this model, it's made of rubber-backed felt. Workers secure the lining seam and seal it with rubber strips. Next comes the vamp, a piece of felt reinforced with a thin layer of rubber. This gives the boot strength. This is followed by a toe cap sponge made of rubber compounds. When the boot is cured, the sponge will inflate and hold this steel toe cap in place. To protect the firefighters' feet when walking through sharp debris, a steel arch and a steel sole are used. Next is an adhesive-backed toe cap cover. Then a felt sole to protect the firefighter's foot against heat. It has a steel arch for stability when the firefighter climbs the ladder. After applying a rubber heel reinforcement, workers cover the lower part of the boot with yellow foam for insulation. Now the bottom of the boot is finished in black rubber, which is reinforced at the back and sides in yellow rubber. And finished off in black rubber. Next comes the yellow toe cap and a rubber pad to protect the front of the boot when it rubs against the rungs of the fire ladder. For the bottom sole, they use a press to seal it in place because rubber bonds to rubber under pressure. A rubber trim is fitted around the bottom, using a small roller to press it in place. Workers then press all the seams to ensure they're well adhered. Then, it's into a vacuum machine for about 4 seconds to create an airtight bond. Finally, the boots go into a giant oven that heats them to 140 degrees Celsius. An hour and 45 minutes later, the rubber is cured and hardened, and all the pieces have fused together. And with the heat process completed, it's time to face the heat.